Did my family have any weird rules?
No music!
My parents had this rule that I couldn't drive my car out of Genesee County.
No music!
My mom always made me iron my clothes, tuck in my shirt.
No more plaza.
Get your elbows off the table.
Never mention that man.
Every family has crazy rules.
And to never play music again.
What? And then when we're in a family and there's rules, everybody just accepts them as if they're normal.
The rule was, if you're sitting in a seat watching TV, and you went up to go to the bathroom or go get something from the kitchen, and you said DTMS, which means don't take my spot, then nobody could take your spot.
My grandma gave me an irrational superstition of salt, and I need to throw it over my shoulder every time.
And half the time we don't even know, why do we even do that?
Quite often those rules that seem frustrating to you when you're 12 often come from a place of love, pain.
Thinking about stuff like family rules and family traditions and how they, inform who we are as people was a big part of finding Miguel's story.
Coco is essentially a story about family and what it means to be a part of a big extended family. When we went down to Mexico for the first time, which is for Dia de los Muertos in 2011, we took a trip out into rural Oaxaca, and we ended up spending some time with a couple of families. It was so amazing to me to have this brief moment of being able to watch this family go about their normal business and see how the kids lived, see what the grandmother, what the great-grandmother did in the house. And that, to me, was always the most meaningful part of all of our research trips. And it was all of those experiences and the feelings of being just welcomed and embedded with these families that really created Miguel's family.
It's kind of cool to occupy the space, the type of space that my mother grew up in, the plaza, the little shops, and it's great to see these families, multiple generations, kind of coming together, going to their ofrendas and building their ofrendas, and going to the cemetery.
This is something that it's going to change my life, and for sure, I'm going to go home and I'm going to start making ofrendas and I'm going to teach my kids. It's beautiful.
The people that we met were fantastic, and they confirmed a lot of what we had sort of charted out on the walls here about how we wanted our family to be. A family that has a trade.
Our characters grew certainly from the observations when we were in Mexico, but also on this film it was really encouraged for people to bring their personal experiences into the film.
And I have an uncle just like this guy.
So we were looking at photographs of everybody's family members.
Me growing up being Mexican, I could relate a lot to these characters. And so basically when I was working on the family and designing these characters, I was pulling from personal experiences. I have a son that around the time I was designing Miguel was around 7 years old, so he inspired me so much. Using those personal experiences, those little unique, specific things that takes him from being generic to more authentic to a real living, breathing boy, down to his little dimple, his mole above his lip, a little gap in his teeth. There was a lot of times when we were talking about a specific character, someone might have someone in their family who really reminded them of that character.
The moment I started drawing Abuelita, subconsciously I started drawing my Abuelita.
My abuelita? She's Mama Coco's daughter.
His family is really run by matriarchs, and so there's a lot of really strong, interesting, colorful women.
Mexican culture is matriarchal. The mothers run the household. They run the finances. They also set the rules.
Abuelita, who is Miguel's grandmother, loves him so much, but she's ardently against music of any kind, and she runs the household with a wooden spoon, I guess.
Early on, we had Abuelita carry a wooden spoon in her apron string everywhere she went, and if you said something out of line or disrespectful, she would take out the spoon and give you a whack. And it was that way for a good long while, and then finally one day somebody said, it really shouldn't be a spoon, it should be her sandal, it should be a chancla.
Is there a chancla gag? A what? A chancla gag? Because that would really kill. Like if one of the Diaz came out and like, you know, it's like the belt.
Yeah.
You know, it's worse than the belt.
To whack someone with the shoe?
Yeah.
Abuelita, what are you doing here? You leave my grandson alone, you. Go.
I come from a Mexican family myself, and every so often, when I was being a bit of a brat, my mother would come in with a flip-flop, and she'd threaten me, saying, do you want a spanking? And then me and my brother, because usually he was the one who put me up to it, would run to our room, and we'd stick, like, children's books in the back of our pants to protect us.
Mama Imelda?
Oh, mi familia.
Mama Imelda is the head of the Rivera family, and she is the person who most strongly represents family and tradition.
Imelda, to me, is such an interesting character because she's kind of an antagonist to Miguel. She's the one who made the rule no music.
I give you my blessing to go home and to never play music again.
What? She can't do that.
It's not because she's mean, it's not because she hates music.
The job of the character designer is to dig deep and kind of find what is she hiding. So the first drawings that I did of Imelda were the secret side of her, you know, the passionate singer. So I basically listened to the song La Llorona for days at a time, and I kind of tried to imagine how she would sing that song.
You'll never understand.
She's made this vow to not have music in her life, but she thinks that this may be the one thing that's going to stop him and get him to listen to her.
I think Imelda hasn't allowed herself to sing for 70 years.
Ay de mi llorona.
It's the last tool that she can use in order to woo him back.
Y aunque la vida me cueste llorona.
Having sung that, it was probably like taking a deep breath that she hasn't taken in a long time.
I thought you hated music. Oh, I loved it. I remember that feeling when my husband would play and I would sing.
Imelda is someone who loves her family so much, she'll do whatever it takes to protect them from the pain she's experienced in life. And music happens to be something that scarred her deeply.
When Imelda forgives Hector, she kind of embodies the true meaning of family.
When you're in a family, those relationships aren't one-dimensional. You relate to those people in so many ways, and sometimes you love them, and sometimes you can't stand them, and sometimes you feel something and you withhold it because you don't want to hurt them, or you say something and you regret it.
I don't want to be in this family!
Miguel!
And we wanted it to be a situation where Miguel struggles, but wants so badly to have that connection, and I think that's real and that's interesting.
It's okay. It's okay.
One thing that's so beautiful about Coco is not just the story of the struggles that we have with our own families that we love so much, that's why they drive us so crazy, but it's also the story about people who you love that are not in your life anymore. Being immersed in the culture of this film, we had practices here in the studio. They built a big ofrenda where they invited everyone to bring pictures of loved ones. And I brought my dad's picture.
The picture I put on the ofrenda is my grandma. She taught me how to draw.
Here we go. Mama's high school picture.
This is my grandmother, who I was very, very, very close to growing up. And unfortunately, she died while I was making Toy Story, so she never got to see any of the movies.
Thank you guys for bringing your photos, bringing your families to the workplace to share with each other. I'd like to think that all the people we remember and honor today will be proud of all of you for the work that you've done and the movie that we're going to share with the world. So I just wanted to say thank you and thank them and to our family.
And thank you.
My family has given me so much support, so much love, and to be able to take those experiences, to take those characters from my own family and infuse that into a Pixar film is like the biggest thank you that I could give to a family that's given me so much support.